What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. We're just doing a little sports talk today. Hope we're all doing well. We got the NBA Finals. Game 5 will be tomorrow at 9 o'clock on ABC. Game 5 between the Warriors and the Celtics. The series shifts back to San Francisco. Warriors will be hosting. Game 5 series is tied 2-2. This is a huge game. Golden State wins, they can go up 3-2. And even if they lose Game 6, I'm sure they will be confident Game 7 in their own building. If Boston wins, they can go back to the Garden up 3-2. So, huge game tonight. Just talk a little bit about this game, X factors and stuff like that for Golden State. We know what Stephen Curry can do. Clearly, his foot was not bothering him because in his first game since that injury, after only, 1 or 2 days off, he went off for 43 points. But a couple things need to happen for Golden State. Klay Thompson needs to, I think, step up a little bit. He had a really good game in Game 3, but I thought he struggled in the first 2 games, and I didn't think he played great in Game 4 either. He needs to hit shots, which is what he's there for. And Draymond Green, he has been awful this series. He has been abysmal. He's not scoring. He's shooting like 23% from the field. I know he's not there to score. I know he's there to play defense and hustle and things like that. But he's got to be able to score a little bit. He's got to make the 2-pointers that he gets. He's shooting 23% from the field, averaging like 4 or 5 points a game. He has been god-awful. He is out of control. He can't control his fouls right now. He fouled out in one of the games. He's been in foul trouble the whole series. He's got to step up a little bit. As for the Boston Celtics, I mean, Tatum and Brown have both been very good this series. Their role player as a whole need to step up because obviously Tatum and Brown are the 2 stars there. Golden State knows that. They're going to try to neutralize those 2 guys. They need Grant Williams to hit shots. They need Marcus Smart to play lockdown defense, and they need him to make shots. They need Rob Williams when he's helping. They need him to grab rebounds and get points in the paint. In order to beat Golden State, you've got to be able to score in the paint. And that's why Rob Williams is there, to get points in the paint, get stops in the paint, grab rebound. That's why he is there. And like a guy like Marcus Smart, when you got, Jason Tatum on the floor with you, when you got Jaylen Brown on the floor with you, at times you may have Grant Williams on the floor with you, and Grant Williams shoots 41% from the 3-point range in the regular season, and he's had success shooting from 3 in the postseason. He's going to get some open looks. And he's got to hit them. So Marcus Smart's got to hit his shots. So my next factor is Golden State. I think Klay Thompson and Draymond Green to step up. Klay needs to shoot like Klay usually does. And Draymond's got to play better overall. He's shooting 23% from the field. He's getting in foul trouble. He has not been good enough, Draymond Green. Draymond needs to step up. And for Boston, the role player as a whole needs to step up, but especially Marcus Smart. He's going to get open threes, like I said, because he's playing with Jason Tatum. He's playing with Jaylen Brown, and he may be playing with Grant Williams. Grant Williams is a very good shooter as well. As for NHL, the Eastern Conference Final is complete, but Tampa Bay Lightning beat the New York Rangers last night by a score of 2-1. They win this series in 6. They advance to the Stanley Cup Final for the 3rd straight year. 2-time defending champions go back to the Stanley Cup Final. It was an excellent game. Steven Stamkos scored in the second period. And I don't think Shesterkin thought he was going to shoot, so we beat him. In the third period, Frank Petrano scored on the power play with a little over 7 minutes left. But just 21 seconds later, Steven Stamkos scored his second of the game and his 9th of the postseason. There was a little bit of question whether or not he interfered with Shesterkin. I thought at first he may have, but just seeing the replay, it was clear he shot it. Puck bounced up in the air and hit off of his body and went in. So the little contact with Shesterkin's glove didn't end up mattering. But Tampa wins 2-1 in Game 6. They win the series in 6 after losing the first 2. They win 4 in a row. It'll be Tampa Bay Lightning versus the Colorado Avalanche in the Stanley Cup Final. Kudos to my Rangers. They had a great season. They're a very young team, 3rd youngest team in the league coming into the year. They've been the youngest team in the league for several years. This year, they were the 3rd youngest team. Weren't sure they're going to make the playoffs. They had an incredible season, 4th in the Eastern Conference, went all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. They were down 4-1 against the Pittsburgh Penguins. You had guys out. Came all the way back to win that series, trailing games 5, 6, and 7. and still won those 3 games, all facing elimination. We're down 2-0 against Carolina and then 3-2 against Carolina. Came back to beat the Hurricanes, who were overall a better hockey team than the Rangers, excellent defensively. Hurricanes were 7-0 at home in the postseason. The Rangers beat them 5-1 at home in Game 7. And they took the 2-10 defending champions to Game 6, enlightening they're a better team than the Rangers as well, even though they finished like 2 or 4 points behind the Rangers in the regular season. So, great run for the Rangers. Had a great year. They got a great future ahead of them. Their average age is just 26. They got 7 guys, 24 or younger. They'll be back, hopefully, next year. Our Stanley Cup final will be starting this upcoming week. Taken by Lightning, of course, are a 2-10 defending champs. They play the Colorado Avalanche. Game 1 will be Wednesday, June 15th at 8 p.m. on ESPN Plus as well as ABC. Colorado hasn't played in a while, so kind of the same thing with the Lightning. They hadn't played in 9 days heading into the series against the Rangers. Probably a big reason why they lost the first 2 games, especially Game 1, they lost 6-2. And then they kind of found themselves. Well, Colorado had the same run because they haven't played, and it's going to be probably around a week and a half as well since they played because they swept the Oilers. Remember, in the second round, Tampa swept Florida, but the Rangers took Carolina to 7 games. Rangers took 7 games to beat Carolina. Tampa beat the Rangers in 6, but Colorado swept the Edmonton Oilers. So we'll see if Colorado is rusty at all. It's going to be a really interesting series. Seems like a lot of people are picking Colorado. I'm not so sure. I mean, Colorado's been dominant. Yes, they are first in the West this year. They had 120 points. Second to only the Florida Panthers of the East, who had 122. They ran away with the West this year. They are 12-2 in the playoffs. They have lost just 2 games in the playoffs all year. They beat Nashville in 5 games in the first round. They defeated the Blues in 6 games, or they beat the Blues in 5 games in the second round, and they swept the Edmonton Oilers. They have been dominant. Tampa took 7 games to beat Toronto, but they swept the Florida Panthers, who were the best team in the National Hockey League, and they beat the Rangers in 6. I just don't know how you can pick against Tampa. They've won this thing 2 years in a row. They've dealt with injuries. Every run they've dealt with injuries. They did not have Steven Stamkos for one of their runs, and they still won. One of their runs they didn't have Nikita Kucherov. They still won. And this year they have not had Braden Point, who's been injured, and they still got to the Cup final. And Braden Point is one of their 3 or 4 best players easily, if not, he's their best player, and the Lightning still made it back to the Stanley Cup final. They are an incredible team. Colorado's next one team, they might be the best offensive team in the league. They can score on anybody. You got Nathan McKinnon, Gabriel Landeskog, Mikko Rantanen. You got Andre Burakovsky, Kale Maker, one of the best D-men in the league. And they're great. Their goaltending, though, is a little bit shaky. Why I'm a little bit worried. First of all, they flip-flop goalies. That does not work. I have never seen anybody win a Stanley Cup while flip-flopping goalies. I don't think anybody has ever seen that. I don't think I've ever seen anybody flip-flop goalies and still win a Stanley Cup. I think Darcy Kemper is probably the better goalie. He's a decent goalie. He's had a very good season. But first of all, he's not Andre Vasilevsky, and he doesn't scare me. And Tampa's got a potent offense with Kucherov and Stamkos and Anthony Cirelli, Andre Palat, Alex Killorn, and Victor Hedman's one of the league's best D-men, even without Braden Point. And you never know. I don't know if they'll have him for the Stanley Cup final. I think they may because, prior to Game 5, he started skating, and there was rumors that they may be able to get him back. He was not able to return for the series. But, if he started skating, prior to Game 5 against the Rangers, I don't see why they couldn't have him at least by Game 2 or 3 of the Stanley Cup final. And now he's got, 3 more days off until they play on Wednesday. They could have him maybe for even Game 1. So I do think we'll see him for the Stanley Cup final. Will he be 100% healthy? I'm sure he won't be 100%. I don't think anyone's 100% at this point. I don't know what version of him we'll get, but I think he will be there for probably the majority of the series. I can see him being back for Game 1. Depends how the series goes. If Tampa jumps out to 2-0, they might wait till if it gets to a Game 5 or 6. Because he's a really good young player. They don't want to risk his future by having him injuring himself even further. They don't want him to miss any time next year. If they go down 2-0, we'll probably see him in Game 3. If it's 1-1, probably by game 4. So we'll see what happens, but I do think that will happen for the series. And Andre Vasilevsky, he may be the greatest postseason goalie ever. Andre Vasilevsky has given up 2 goals in his last 7 series-clinching games. He's incredible. Him and Igor, the 2 best goalies in the league. In the regular season, Igor was clearly head and shoulders. Avassi wasn't even a best in the finals this year. But he was certainly a top 5 goalie in the postseason. Vasilevsky was king. The man is just absolutely amazing. If he wins a 3rd cup, guy who I believe already has a Vezina, he's been to the All-Star game quite a few times. 3 cups, the dominance he's had in the playoffs. He's last 7 series clinching games. He's given up 2 goals, got like a .2 GAA. I think we need to start putting him in the rankings of the all-time great goalies. The guy's amazing. And this year he had like a 2.46, like a 9.20 save percentage, and that was a down year for him. He was probably the 4th or 5th best goalie in the league this year, and that was below expectations for him. He was expected to be, the league's best goalie, and he was 4th or 5th, and people were saying, what happened to him? And of course, in the postseason, he went out and was dominant. It was great in the first round against Toronto. He had a couple of bad games, but the entire team came out a little sluggish against Toronto. He was dominant against Florida, who's got an excellent offense. He struggled in the first 2 games against the Rangers, but that was probably because they were rusty. He did not play it for 9 days in between the second and third round. And the last 4 games, he was dominant. This is a big test facing Colorado, one of the most talented offensive teams in the league. They're definitely the more talented offensive team, Colorado. I think Tampa's a better all-around team. But I think it will be a great series. I kind of want to say go Avs because they Lightning beat the Rangers, but I'm taking Tampa in 7. I don't know how you can bet against them. Right now, they have arguably the best goalie in the world, one of the greatest postseason goalies of all time, a top 5 goalie in the regular season, probably the best goalie in the league in the playoffs, between him and Igor Shesterkin on the Rangers. They got so much experience. They got an opponent offense. They're very good defensively. They're a very well-rounded team, very disciplined. They're great on special teams. Colorado is amazing offensively. They're not great defensively. Their goaltending's a little shaky. They're not as experienced. They don't have a ton of experience. I'm taking Tampa in 7. Colorado's been dominant all year. 120 points. Ran away at the West. 2 points behind Florida for the President's Trophy. Have lost just 2 games all postseason. But look at their runs. Yes, they've only lost 2 games, but it was impressive that they only took 5 games to beat the Blues. I think the Blues are a good team. They swept Edmonton, who was red hot. I think Calgary, I thought had a shot to go to the Cup final, and Edmonton beat them in 5 games, and they swept Edmonton. But Edmonton's not it's not a Stanley Cup team. They need some more offense besides Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Evander Kane was a great pickup, and they do have Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, but they need some more, second and third line scoring. Your defense isn't very good. Mike Stiffs is ancient. He's washed pretty much. He had decent year in the regular season, but he was terrible in the playoffs overall. He was pretty good in the first round against the Kings, but the last 2 rounds was where I did not think he played well. He got pulled a couple times. That's not a Stanley Cup team. Colorado is. And Tampa, Toronto's a cursed organization. We knew they were going to win that series. As for game 1 they got dominated, game 3 they got dominated. The rest of the games, I thought Tampa played very well. They absolutely thrashed Florida, who on paper probably should have beat them. Florida was the best team in the NHL. Defense was, again, defensive goaltending wasn't as strong, but offensively they were fantastic. Andrew Burnett, took over interim basis after Joel Quenneville got fired after the allegations came out when he was in Chicago. And Andrew Burnett was Coach of the Year finalist. I would assume he's going to keep the job full time. And then the Rangers are, again, I'm not expecting. I'm a Ranger fan. I did not expect them to go to the Stanley Cup. I thought they would lose in the second round. When we came back to beat Pittsburgh, I was very happy, but I thought, crap, we gotta beat Carolina. We're probably gonna lose in probably 6 games. We went down 2-0. I thought, damn, this might be a sweep. And I was surprised. We went up 2-0 against Tampa. We got 2-0 in the series. I was like, what on earth's going on? So yes, on paper, Tampa's a better team than the Rangers. They should have beat them. They basically, all they did was take care of business. But Rangers, in the regular season, finished better than them. They were an excellent team. They just wouldn't go away. They went down 3-1 against Pittsburgh. People thought this team is just too young and not ready. They need some more pieces. And they came back and they played Carolina. Oh, yeah, Carolina's going to blow them out of the water. They're too good defensively. They're too experienced. The Rangers won't be able to get past them. And the Rangers, went down 2-0. Came back to beat them. Beat them in Carolina in Game 7, a building they had not lost in all postseason. Not only did they beat them, crushed them, won 5-1. And the Eastern Conference Final, they went up 2-0 against Tampa. They're going to see people are thinking, oh yeah, Tampa's going to probably win 5 or 6 games. They're too experienced. They're too good. Basketball, he's too good of a goal. He does not. Once against the game 5, 6, 7, he won't give up a single goal. And they're on a roll. Maybe the first game they won't win because they're rusty, but by game 2, they're going to put the Rangers out of their misery. And the Rangers went up 2-0. People are thinking the Rangers might win 5 games now. What's going on? And Tampa came all the way back. I think this will be an excellent series. I'm very excited. I'm going to pick Tampa in 7. I can easily see Colorado winning. Should be a very exciting series. As for MLB, scores from yesterday, Phillies over the Diamondbacks 4-0. They stay hot. Twins over the Rays 6-5. Rangers over the White Sox 11-9. Cardinals over the Reds 5-4. Nationals over the Brewers 8-6. Tigers over the Blue Jays 3-1. Marlins over the Astros 5-1. Athletics over the Guardians 10-5. Orioles over the Royals 6-4. Padres over the Rockies 2-1. Braves over the Pirates 10-4. Yankees over the Cubs 8-0. Giants over the Dodgers 3-2. Angels over the Mets 11-6. Rockies over the Padres 6-2. They had a doubleheader. They split it. And Mariners over the Red Sox 7-6. Man, the Red Sox bullpen is brutal. It is so bad. They have blown so many games this year. So many. They'll lose that game in extra innings. Giants have taken the first 2 of that series against the Dodgers. Dodgers were 0-4 with the bases loaded in that game. Bunch of missed opportunities. Yankees demolished the Cubs. I don't know who the heck started for the Cubs. They had some scrub start. He went 2 or 3 innings. He went 5 home runs. Yankees hit 5 or 6 home runs in the game. They went 8-0. The social media team actually just ended the Cubs' career. The Cubs center fielder, he made a catch up against the wall, and that the Yankee fans were all cheering because they thought it was a home run. And the Cubs social media said, Yankee fans think everything is a home run, kind of taking a shot at them. And the Yankee social media team replied with, "Do you blame them after they hit 5 home runs in the game?" And they're not wrong. It's well, they've only hit 5 in the game. I mean, they probably figured every single fly ball there probably figured this is going to be out at this point. They had a point there. See, Ramon Laureano in the dugout. Oakland was losing to Cleveland. They were down by 4 runs. I think the 7th inning. They had lost 10 straight games. He's yelling at his player. He said, "Wake the F up." And then that led to a rally. And making the 7th inning, Oakland ended up winning 10-5. Phillies are hot. They won 8 in a row. 7-0 with Rob Thompson as their manager. Interesting crowd chant in the White Sox and Rangers game. White Sox went up 5-0 and ended up blowing it. Texas wins 11-9 in extra innings. After Texas took an 11-7 lead in the 10th inning, the fans started chanting, "Fire Tony," referring to their manager, Tony La Russa. White Sox has definitely underperformance here, 27-30. We thought they'd be a 90-win team and run away with the Central. They're 27-30. They're 6 games out of first place. But they've had a lot of injuries. When it comes to the Fire Tony chant, this is the way I look at it. I do not like Tony La Russa. I think he's arrogant. I think his time has passed. He's one of the greatest managers of all time. But the game has changed so much. His methods just don't work anymore. He's a little bit too old school. Nothing wrong with being old school. The manager of my favorite team, New York Mets, Buck Showalter, is an old school manager. That being said, the Mets are maybe the best team in the National League. They're in first place, and they're rolling. I think Showalter should be manager of the year. Dusty Baker is not a very old school manager. He's managing the Houston Astros. Astros are a World Series contender and have been ever since he took over. So I'm not saying, these old school managers, can't win today's game. But you gotta, lighten up a little bit. At least, I mean, I'm not a fan of analytics, but they do have its place. You gotta, if you use them correctly, And you mix that with like your old school mindset, and it works. That's why Buck Showalter has done a great job in his first year with the Mets. That's why Dusty Baker has had success in Houston. But Tony La Russa just like he's like almost like over trying. Like he's not like mixing like his old school mindset with the new intellect. He's like either like being like too old school. Like last year when Tim Anderson hit the home run up 9-0 when he swung on 3-0 count, he got pissed off at his own player. And now on a 1-2 count, he's walking Trey Turner, and now he argues the analytics. Like, dude, like aren't you like an old school manager who doesn't really like analytics? Like, pick a side, dude. So I think his time has passed, but they have had a lot of injuries. To be fair, that being said, Lance Lynn, their ace, should be coming back very shortly. Eloy Jimenez is one of their best players who's been out for a while, should be coming back shortly. Tim Anderson, maybe their best player. He should be coming back in the next couple of weeks. If they can get healthy by like July, I think they can turn it around. So I'll give Tony La Russa a pass for now. But if come like a trade deadline on August 2nd, if they're still struggling and they're at mostly full strength, I think he could be on his way out. We shall see. Keep an eye out for the hot seat for managers this year because Philly's already made a change. Firing Joe Girardi will still what happens if their interim manager, see if they keep this hot streak up. Angels already fired Joe Madden. Their interim manager is now Phil Nevin. I don't think he's going to last because the Angels look pretty lifeless right now. Seattle's underperforming. Will Scott Servais get fired? The White Sox are underperforming. Will Tony La Russa get fired? So, we'll see what happens. Will some GMs get fired? Al Avila for Texas. For Detroit. Look at the guys he brought in. Javier Baez, he gave $140 million. Baez is sitting like 205 right now. Austin Meadows is underperforming. The guy he brought in. Eduardo Rodriguez is the guy that hasn't been great. The guys he brought in really have not worked. Could he be on the hot seat? I don't know what the hell's going on with the Angels. I would fire that front office. Remember, their GM's only been there for a few years. I talked about it, I think it was a few days ago or maybe last week about Terry Minchie and their GM. He's been there a few years, but he has not put pitching around Trout. Firing Madden, I don't know what that does. Like, yes, offensively they have been disappointing. They're starting pitching. It's been struggling. Their bullpen has not been good. They haven't been good enough, but is it really Madden's fault? The pitching is not that good. The rotation outside of Ohtani and Syndergaard, who's all talk anyway, I don't really see anybody who scares me in that rotation. Outside of Rosales Leite, who's their closer, no one scares me in their bullpen. The lineup has underperformed a little bit, but Trout's doing his thing. Ohtani hasn't done what he did last year, but that was one of the greatest years of all time. Rendon's hurt. He's been out for a little bit. Should be back soon. Brandon Marsh's been pretty good, but everyone else really hasn't been great in that lineup. Look at this team. Yeah, they got a pretty good lineup, but, your second best reliever outside your closer, Rosales Iglesias, is I don't know, who? Jimmy Bowie or Mike Mayers? What? How do you expect this team to be a playoff caliber team? And the Philly front office, Dave Dombrowski's been around a long time. He knows what he's doing, but he wasn't here for this. But the Phillies had Gabe Kapler. 2 mediocre years, fired him, and he goes to the Giants and is one of the best managers in the league. George Roy was a very accomplished manager. You get rid of him. So it's worked so far because they're 7-0 with Rob Thompson as their interim manager. But you can't say it's Girardi's fault. Yes, they have an excellent lineup, but the rotation behind Wheeler is shaky. Their bullpen is god-awful. Their defense is god-awful because they had Harper at the DH because of his shoulder problem. So they're stuck with, Castellanos and Shore playing left and right every day, and their infield defense isn't good either besides Real Muto, their catcher. So I don't think that's really his fault either. And we'll see if their front office get to look if they don't get into the playoffs, but we shall see. We got an update for the RBC Canadian Open. It is in the final day. Right now, Rory McIlroy is the leader. He is at 16 under par for the tournament. He is 5 under for the day. He is 2 shots ahead of Justin Thomas, Wyndham Clark, and Tony Finau. Rory's been in the mix pretty much the whole tournament. He's 2 shots up. You got Justin Thomas is 2 back. He's 5 under for the day. Wyndham Clark, who's 5 under for the day. He's 2 back. Tony Finau, 3 under for the day. He's 2 back. Rory's been, towards the top of the entire tournament. JT had a big day yesterday, shooting 7 under. Wyndham Clark, big first day, shot 7 under, has cooled off since then, but he's been near the top basically the whole time. He was the leader after the first day. He's been, towards the top of the leaderboard the whole time. Big day today. He's 5 under through 10. He's at 14 under par. Tony Finau shot 8 under yesterday. 3 under through 10 today. He's at 14. Justin Rose is making a push. Justin Rose is 9 under par today. He was 4 under going into the day. 9 under par through 14 holes. He's only 3 back. Then you got Sam Burgess 4 back. Alex Moley 5 back. And then Matt Fitzpatrick, Chris Kirk, Corey Connor 6 back. So, looks like an exciting finish at the RBC Canadian Open. U.S. Open starts on Thursday. That's what we got for golf. In the NFL, we got some NFL news that's been coming out. Let's talk about the Cleveland Browns situation. Obviously, is their quarterback situation I'm referring to. I don't know what's going on with the Deshaun Watson situation. The NFL needs to make a ruling on that. Deshaun Watson has been accused by 24 different women of some certain form of sexual misconduct. I know the 9 women who sued him in criminal court it was all proved not guilty. I know the civil suits have not been heard yet, but when it comes to the NFL's personal conduct, the conduct policy the NFL has, he has absolutely violated it, and he needs to be suspended for a long time. Put it to you this way: Trevor Bauer, starting pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers, he was accused of some sort of sexual misconduct with one woman. MLB recently suspended him for 2 years, even though he was found not guilty. Deshaun Watson, although he's been found not guilty when it comes to the 9 women who sued him in criminal court, and the 24 civil suits haven't been heard yet. It's 24. Trevor Bauer was one thing. That's 1. So, all right, Bauer can argue all he wants. He shouldn't get 2 years. But if Bauer can get 2 years for being, ruled not guilty over 1 woman, Deshaun Watson's 24. This point might as well kick him out of the league. This is ridiculous. He has completely abused the NFL's personal conduct policy. It's not even funny how much he's abused that policy. I think he should get at least a year. Put it to you this way: if Calvin Ridley, wide receiver for the Atlanta Falcons, can get suspended for 1 year, and he possibly could even get even more of that. They'll take a look at the suspension next year. He can get 1 year for betting on football while he was away from the team because he was battling mental health problems. So after the beginning of the year, he did not play because he took care of his mental health problems. He bet on his team to win, so it's not like he was throwing any games. He was betting on his team to win. He wasn't even playing. He wasn't even with the team at the time because he was, like I said, he was away from the team, battling mental health problems. If he can get 1 year for doing that, Deshaun Watson, is accused of sexual misconduct by 24 different women. Like, why should he be allowed to stay in the league? Why the Browns were stupid to give up 3 first-round draft picks plus a 3rd and a 5th rounder and give him a $230 million contract extension before he even took the field for them, knowing this was hanging over their head because he may never play again. Also remember, Deshaun Watson did not play last year. He wasn't suspended, but Houston didn't want to play him because he had at the time 22 women accusing him of sexual misconduct. They were like, well, we don't want to play this guy. It's a PR disaster. And he didn't want to play for them either. He demanded a trade even before the allegations came out during the offseason last year. That's why I thought it was so dumb. That might be the worst trade in NFL history. You could argue it already is. So he could easily be very rusty. I mean, he's practicing right now. Like, I can't imagine what that Browns locker room is like. That's why I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, because you're dealing with, you get your starting quarterback who's being accused by 24 women of sexual misconduct. You got Baker, who's not with the team right now. He's away from the team, but if he ever comes back, Bedroma, he's caused. He's not even that good. He's not playable as being a number 1 overall pick. He's another boss, it looks like, from the Browns. Just like that locker must be a mess right now. Poor Kevin Stefanski. Their coach is dealing with a lot right now, so it'll be interesting. If he gets suspended for a long time, for like a year, what do I do? Do they bring Baker back? Will Baker want to come back? Like, I don't think Jacoby Brissett, who's their backup right now, gets them to the playoffs. I mean, they have a good team. They got some weapons. Obviously, getting Amari Cooper was a big pickup. They got Lexman off the line, great run game, pretty good defense, pretty good coaching staff. They're a good team. First of all, they're in a tough division. Bengals and Ravens are also great teams in the AFC North. All this drama that they're dealing with, you might have. And like, does Baker get this team to the playoffs? I mean, this team is better. I mean, he'll be, he was battling injuries last year. He'll be healthy, and then you had a star receiver in Amari Cooper. You still have a decent defense and a great O line and a great run game. But after all the drama he's been through, like, does Baker get this team to the playoffs? I don't know. I definitely don't think Jacoby Brissett does, but I'm not sure if Baker does either. I don't think Deshaun Watson can. The Browns' best bet, like, after their first 4 games, I was looking at my schedule. The first 4 games they play, I forget what order, but they play the Carolina Panthers, the Jets, they play the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Atlanta Falcons. So that could be at least 3-1, if not 4-0. After that, the schedule gets kind of tough. They got 4 games each against the Ravens and the Bengals, 2 excellent teams. Like, the Browns, their best bet is to probably hope he gets, like, 8 games. Hope that they go, like, at least 4-4 through the first 8, and then hope that Deshaun can come out there and play like the guy that he was in Houston a couple years ago, and they can get to 10 wins and sneak in the playoffs. Remember, you could argue the AFC West and AFC North both have 3 playoff teams. I mean, the West has got obviously the Chiefs. You also have the Chargers, who are a really good team. The Broncos got Russell Wilson now. Even the Raiders are pretty good. In the North, got the Bengals, who were in the Super Bowl last year, and their O-line will be a little better this year. But the Ravens, who, if they're healthy, should be really good. Assuming Lamar Jackson reports to them, which I'm sure he will. And then you got the Browns, who, if they have Deshaun Watson, look like a really good team. Pittsburgh, not so much. They don't look very good this year, from a messy quarterback situation. The team isn't that great. And, of course, the Patriots are going to compete. The Dolphins, I'm sure, will compete to an extent. I'm sure whoever comes out of the South between Indy and Tennessee will be in the mix. So, AFC is going to be a gauntlet. That's a very sticky situation in Cleveland. We'll also talk about something Tyreek Hill said. I think Tyreek Hill might be a delusional human being. This man came out and said that he didn't think he was targeted enough in Kansas City. Like, dude, Mahomes only threw to you and Travis Kelce. Like, dude, what is Tyreek Hill talking about? People are always complaining and needing another receiver. Like, the receivers they have, I thought were fine. You had McCole Hardman, who I still have. Brian Pringle was a pretty good player. You had some good running backs. It's just that Mahomes only throws to Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce because they're so freaking good. So I don't know what Tyreek Hill's talking about that he's not getting targeted enough. These guys having 90 to 100 catches every year. What do you mean you're not getting targeted enough? And he said that he would take Tua's accuracy over Mahomes' arm strength. This man said Tua Tagovailoa is more accurate than Patrick Mahomes. Like, what? What? Are you kidding me? Have you seen Tua play? Obviously, you've seen Mahomes play because you played with him. Have you seen Tua play? Yes, the offensive line has been terrible. You may not have gotten along with Brian Flores as head coach. May have not have been the right fit for him. But now he's got great receiver with Tyreek Hill and with Jalen Waddle, tight end Mike Gesicki, good running game. The O-line's a little better. You got an offensive minded head coach that you wanted. The defense is set. What else does this guy want? And I'm sorry, Tua. Throwing to Tyreek Hill, who's not even wearing pads in practice, in training camp, is not impressive. It just isn't. I am sorry. Not even wearing pads. He's got like the red shirts on, so you don't even want the guys getting tackled in training camp with no defenders, and Tua just throwing a duck up to Tyreek Hill, which wasn't even thrown perfectly. Tyreek just happened to adjust to it because he's such a great player. No defenders. 4 yards on the field. That's not impressive. It just isn't. I'm sorry, that just is not impressive. So I think Tyreek Hill might be very, very delusional. Other NFL news that we have supposedly Kyler Murray and Hollywood Brown's chemistry is right on point. Kyler Murray, Arizona's star quarterback, was he reported to OTA after originally not reporting because he wants a new contract extension. He's had a dramatic offseason, deleting his Instagram photos and demanding an extension. He thought he was being made a scapegoat. He was kind of being a little bit of a crybaby, if you ask me. Of course, at the NFL draft, Arizona made a big trade for Hollywood Brown. Went over 1,100 yards last year for the Ravens. Supposedly their chemistry is right on point. That's good for the Arizona Cardinals, who are going to need Hollywood Brown with DeAndre Hopkins suspended for the first 6 games. You saw how their offense suffered after he got hurt last year. Supposedly, in mysterious quarterback competition between Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett, I do believe Mason Rudolph is competing as well, but mainly Mitch Trubisky and first-round rookie Kenny Pickett. It appears Mitch Trubisky will most likely win that job. It appears to be his job to lose, so expect Mitch Trubisky to come out on top in that quarterback competition. There's also a quarterback competition going on in Seattle between Drew Lock and Geno Smith. That's interesting. Obviously, Drew Lock showed in Denver he's not a very good quarterback. I don't think he's the future there. I don't think there's much future for him with any team. Obviously, Geno Smith is a career backup, complete second-round miss by the Jets. Was absolutely horrible as a starter for the Jets. Career backup, he's not any good either. But yes, Geno has been in his offense for a few years. He started a couple of games last year when Russell Wilson was hurt. But you might as well start Drew Lock. Your team's not very good. The O-line's not that good. The defense is horrible. Pete Carroll appears to be on the hot seat last year. I was a GM. Their coach and GM could be out of a job in a year or two. I can see I'm moving on from them in the next year or two. Your team's not that good. You're in a tough division in the NFC West. You've got the defending champs, the Rams, who look just as good. The 49ers are a good team. Arizona's a pretty good team. You're looking like you're going to finish last in the division. You don't have Russell Wilson to save your ass anymore. Bobby Wagner's not there anymore either. Your team's not that good. I would start Drew Lock. He's still, 24-25. See if maybe you catch lightning in a bottle and see what happens. Starting Geno, that does nothing. Drew Lock was talking to the media. He was saying he was in a quarterback competition with the Broncos with Teddy Bridgewater last year. He said he kept trying to compare himself to Teddy, saying, did Teddy win today? Did I win today? So that's what he thinks cost him the starting job last year. So this year, now competing with Geno Smith, he's just trying to focus on being better every day. Thinking, did I improve today? Did I make the other guys around me better today? There's a different mindset going into this quarterback competition, but I've heard in the past, since TA started, that Geno Smith has a slight edge over him. I just think it's because he's been in his offense for a couple of years. Drew Lock still learning the offense. But Drew Lock, he's showing a couple of flashes here and there, maybe. Geno, not so much. So we'll see where that quarterback competition goes. I would start Drew Lock, but both aren't very good. Seattle's probably in for a long year. The last thing I want to talk about before we wrap up is there's a bunch of NFL stars who want to get paid. A few of them are holding out. A few of them are here. And my guy Smoove is in the chat. He said Baker Mayfield to Seattle. I've heard Seattle doesn't want him. I heard they were out on a trade. I could see it. I'm not sure if they're settled with Drew Lock and Geno Smith. I wouldn't be. Adding Baker Mayfield, that's not that much of an upgrade. I would take Baker Mayfield over Drew Lock, and I would definitely take him over Geno Smith. I think it makes sense. I think it gives you the best chance to win, which Seattle's going to need because their team is not very good, and they're by far the worst team in their division. But I haven't heard much, but I think that makes sense. We'll see. As for stars who are holding out, Kyler Murray is one. I'm not sure if he gets paid. I don't think Kyler Murray deserves a big contract. He hasn't done anything. He has not won a playoff game in 3 years. He got like a 500 record. He's a complete crybaby. He's saying, people are making him a scapegoat for their playoff loss. It's like, well, what do you expect? You played terrible in that game, dude. Kyler's whole career, he's gotten off to a great start to the season. Looks like an MVP candidate. Looks like the guy that was number 1 overall pick, and then down the stretch, he's inconsistent. He's a guy who'll play 2 or 3 really great games, and then he'll go out and be 17 for 34 for 112 yards and 2 picks. He's very frustrating to watch. He's got a lot of talent, and he's shown that he can be a great quarterback in the past, but he's also been inconsistent, and he's never won a playoff game. And one playoff game he was in, he did not play well. So I do not think he deserves a contract. Lamar Jackson. Lamar's a tough one. He's an incredible talent. He's a great player. He's a former league MVP for a reason. He's 37-12 in the regular season, but he's just 1-3 in the playoffs. That's tough, you know. Kyler still got 2 years left on his rookie deal, including the fifth-year option. It's the last year of Lamar's contract. So if Ravens don't give him his money, now they're probably pretty much forced to franchise tag him and play the franchise tag game, which is a very dangerous game to play. Because if Lamar, after the year might be like, go screw yourself, I'm not even going to sign my tender, I'm going to go sign somewhere else. Or, all right, you can tag me, I can't sign it, I'm stuck in my tag, but I ain't going to sign it. They give me my money, and if the Ravens are hesitant, I can see why they think, oh, maybe runners don't last. He's only got one playoff win, which I do understand. It's a very legitimate point. I think if I'm Lamar, he could easily argue, well, Dak Prescott only has, what, one career playoff win. He got a $160 million contract. Deshaun Watson has not had a lot of success in the playoffs. He's only got, what, one or two playoff wins, and he got a $156 million contract. He's got a $230 million extension on top of that with Cleveland, and he's got 24 civil lawsuits against them. You know, Kyler has never won a playoff game. He's asking for a ton of money. So Lamar Jackson paying him, it's tough. I would pay Lamar. I know he's only got one playoff win. I just argued for Kyler not to pay him because he has 0 playoff wins. I mean, you know, Lamar has one, but just one. The runners a lot of times don't laugh. You see some of these guys, you know, Michael Vick, part of it because Michael Vick went to jail for 2 years. But also, when he came up with the Eagles, he refound himself, but that was short-lived. You know, Donovan McNabb is another one. He kind of flamed out. Randall Cunningham's another one. You look at Cam Newton. You know, he was a good quarterback. Probably it's his first, 5, 6, 7 years was the MVP in 2015. Went to the Super Bowl, and after that, seemed to fall off. Had a lot of injuries. So, but I mean, Lamar's only going into his 5th year. He's still really young. If he is going to fall off, it's still going to be another 5 or 6 years. He's probably getting a 4 or 5 year contract. So I think at least if he is going to fall off, it's not going to be until after this contract is already up. So he's a former MVP. You know, he's your best shot. You're not going to be able to find an upgrade from him on the open market this year or next year. Probably not even in the next 2 or 3, 4 years. I would give him a long-term extension. I'm not sure if I would give him, Mahomes or Deshaun Watson money, but I think he can warrant 35, 36, 37 million a year. What he does with his legs, we've never seen before, besides Michael Vick. And he can throw. I just really think the guys around him aren't the greatest group. And plus, that's a run-first team. Lamar's going to run about 8, 10, 12 times a game. You have Dobbins healthy. You have Gus Edwards healthy. You signed Mike Davis. You have a lot of good running backs. So that's a team that, if they want to, can run the game 4 times a game. So you can argue, you know, they don't need to pay him, but the reason their run game is so dominant, a lot of it is Lamar. So I don't think you have to worry about him, not having the greatest arm. I think he has a decent arm. He doesn't have a Patrick Mahomes style arm, but I think he has a pretty good arm. I just don't think he's had great receivers. The receiver he's probably had is what? Marquise Brown, and he's not even there anymore. So, if he's not going to have to throw probably more than 30 times a game. And I do think on the off chance he does have to throw 40 times every once in a while, in the postseason. So I do think he can do it. I do think he can win the postseason. He has not done it. We'll see what happens, but I do think he can. I have confidence in him. He's a great player, so I would pay him. Terry McLaurin after holding out for an interview, I would pay him. He's very underrated. He has not had any good quarterbacks, and now he's got another better quarterback in Carson Wentz. He's a great receiver. If you put him with a top quarterback, I think he would be an absolutely off-the-charts popular and a stud. I think he's a top 10 receiver in the NFL. Great player, very underrated. I would pay him. A lot of because I would pay. Dalton Schultz is holding out because he has not signed his franchise Cowboys tight end. He plays tight end. He's a really good player. I would pay him. He's a top 10 tight end in the league. He's a really good player. Dallas has a talented offense. I think Dak's very overrated, though. He's not a bad quarterback. He's decent. He's not this elite quarterback people make him out to be, but he's a decent quarterback. Zeke's overrated as well, but he is pretty good. Tony Pollard's really good. If you lose Amari Cooper, you got CeeDee Lamb, who's a great player. When healthy, you'll have Michael Gallup. Being said, you did lose Amari Cooper in the offseason. Gallup might be hurt to start the year, so they could really use Dalton Schultz. I would pay him. He's a really good player. Jesse Bates, the Bengals safety. I would pay him. Bengals got a really good thing going. They got a really good young core. They should try to keep as much of this core as they can. Obviously, the most important guy is Joe Burrow, who will be up for an extension next offseason. I expect them to move quickly with that. But Bates is one of the best safeties in the league. He's a really good player. Big part of a very good defense last year for the Bengals. I would pay him. Next two are a little complicated. The first one is extremely complicated. Deebo Samuel, star receiver for the 49ers. He's clearly he wants to be traded. The 49ers at first seemed a little bit like they weren't sure they were willing to pay him. Then they were willing to pay him, but then Deebo said, no. I don't want an extension. I don't want to be here. I want to be traded. Okay, first of all, him ordering that, he says, I don't like my role. Him using him as a running back sometimes. It's ridiculous. What? You got the ball too much? Oh, I'm sorry. I gave you too many touches last year. Excuse me. I've heard of guys complaining I'm not getting enough touches, but getting too much? That's a new one. That being said, he's a game changer. One of the best receivers in the league. I think he was a top 5 receiver in the game last year. A lot of receivers have gotten paid this year. Devontae Adams, A.J. Brown, Tyreek Hill. All those guys, though, they were kind of once they got traded. Devontae Adams, Packers didn't want to pay him, so he said, well, either you got to pay me or trade me. So they traded him to the Raiders for a couple of draft picks, and then the Raiders paid him. The Chiefs are trying to come up with an extension for Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill didn't like what they were offering. And the Chiefs were like, crap, now we have to trade him because he's going to walk in for agency next year. So they traded for the dollar, got a crap load of picks back, and the Miami extended them. They're trying to come up with an extension for A.J. Brown. They couldn't agree. A.J. Brown was like, you're either going to pay me or I'm not playing for you. They're like, crap, we got to trade him. So then they moved him to the Eagles. They got what they could for him with the draft, and then the Eagles paid him right away. Now you see Cooper Kupp has got a big extension from the Rams. So he sees all these receivers getting paid. He's like, yo, where's my money? I was just as good as all these guys last year. I'm an elite receiver too. So definitely I would pay him. He'll get paid one way or another, whether him and the 49ers figure it out and San Francisco ponies up, or he forces a trade, and then wherever he goes, I think he'll get an extension right away. But I would definitely pay him. Next one is also complicated. DK Metcalf. All right, there has been some speculation they may trade him after they signal they're going into a rebuild by trading away Russell Wilson to the Broncos to get back a couple of young players, to get back a bunch of draft picks, including 3 first-rounders. Bobby Wagner. Pete Carroll has said that they don't plan on trading him. They want him here. He's not at OTAs right now, not at minicamp because they're talking extension. Out of him, he's a great receiver. If you argue he's a little bit overrated, maybe doesn't have the best hands, but he's a game changer. The combination of size and speed is something we've never seen before. He's a top 10 receiver arguably in the game. I would definitely pay him. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Until next time, so long, and have a great day.